Welcome back to What She Says Sports. This Shanola girl checking in. All right, we have a good show planned for you tonight. This is the latest buzz because it's late and it's the latest update of what has taken place today. Um, we're gonna talk about a few different things, and most of them are relative to sports. But there's this one topic that I was not expecting to happen today. And because Cardi B used to date Stephon Diggs, I guess I'm gonna talk about it because that's my segue into it being sports, but it's not sports related. Um, First and foremost, it was not on my bingo card for Cardi B to be having a back and forth with Homeland Security. And it seems like it's the other way around. It appears that Homeland Security has something to say, which is shocking to me because we're talking to the Department of Human Services, had something to say about Cardi B. And of course, Cardi B will troll. She clapped back. Now, I came into the situation. It's over 9. I think when I saw it, it was at 3 million. Now it's at 9 million views. And people are applauding her for clapping back because I can't believe they said what they said. Let me tell you what they said. I'm still shocked because this is the overall federal Department of Human Services. This is not just some little office up the street. And she ran into somebody that worked there in traffic and they had something to say online about her. This is the federal government. This is the United States government, the entire shebang Department of Homeland Security. I guess the DHS, the Homeland Security. So this is what it says. As long, and this is them talking about Cardi, as long as she doesn't rug or rob our agents, we'll consider that an improvement over her past behavior. And it looks like there's some TMZ status that they put on there, and I didn't go check it out. And then she quips back, if we're talking about rugs, let's talk about Epstein and friends rugging underage girls, and it says, why don't y'all want to talk about the Epstein files? And that was the end of it. So I don't know who working over there. People have said that they think maybe Nicki Minaj got a part-time job and she over there firing away. I'm like, is this the Department of Homeland Security? I'm like, the whole entire federal government. Our country has really gone somewhere that we're not used to it going. But yeah, this was the Department of Home. I had to make sure it was real because AI is a mug these days. But it's real, y'all. The Department of Homeland Security was, I don't know, just going in on a citizen like it was cute, like versus Popeyes. But it's the Department of Homeland Security. How can you take the Department of Homeland Security serious? Remember when they raided Diddy's home? That was the Department of Homeland Security that rolled up with the tanks and stuff. These people is who she was not in a back and forth with, but who had something to say, and she responded, and that was it. 9 million people have watched that. So yeah, I don't think Cardi is the one that you kind of want to get into a troll off with, because that was the end of that. I'm still in disbelief that it was actually the Department of Homeland Security. I'm like, what are we doing these days? I mean, who over there running the federal government these days? The federal government used to take the FBI, the CIA, all the alphabet people, the Pentagon, used to take all that shit seriously, bro. The Secret Service now, all of it's just a big joke. It's just a big joke this week. It's just a big joke this week. And I didn't think that this would ever happen. So this wasn't on my bingo card. So I don't know if y'all heard about it, but I just thought I would share it with y'all. All right. So that's how we're going to start off the latest buzz. And then we're going to get into some seriousness right fast. All right. So I posted about Rickea Jackson the other day, and I wanted to update y'all. I've been giving you bits and pieces. I've had to kind of try to figure it out myself. So y'all know they were in a relationship for 3 years. I didn't know it was on again, off again. So it's one of those relationships where people got together, they stopped seeing each other, then they start seeing each other again, that kind of thing. And it was 3 years, and they both went to the University of Tennessee. Now, there are people starting to kind of say that when he was at Tennessee, there was some things happening, but there's nothing officially on the books. But we kind of know how it goes sometimes with some of these football players at these big schools, things don't always get reported like they should. That don't mean they didn't happen. But nevertheless, what happened in Florida was caught on camera. And I think I looked it up today just to see what was the latest. And it seems that as of February 12th, his legal status, he was released on a $20,000 bond. And he's on a pretrial stay away order. So basically, there's a protective order. He can't contact her at all before the trial. And the charges that he's looking at, James Pierce Jr. is his name, just in case. The charges that he's looking at 5 felonies. FIVE. He's looking at 5 felonies. And that's a lot. Yeah, he's looking at 5 felonies. 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon because he allegedly crashed into her car. Now, he ran into her car head on. And apparently, she was trying to get away from him. So she got in her car and left or whatever. And he was following her. So that's why they got him for stalking, because he was following her. And while she's at the traffic stop, he gets out of his car behind her and tries to open her door. She speeds off, trying to get to the police department. He gets back in the car and somehow he gets in front of her and he rams her car head on. A head-on collision. Intentional head-on collision. And then when the police came, he tried to run. And then, he didn't want to get out the car, and they took him out the car, and they had to take him down. It looked like 8 cops trying to take him down. And before he got out the car, he ran into one of the officers into their leg, to their knee. So it was just a bad situation going from bad to worse. I was watching Asante Samuel, and he was talking about it. And he was saying that he feels like every offseason, these types of things happen. And he had an acronym for it. He called it some kind of STF, sexually frustrated feelings or something like that. In other words, he's frustrated and he feel like these things happen every season. But I mean, some people saying they think he got CTE. Now, understand this. It's very possible because people don't know. Some of these players come into the league with CTE, but they don't know because I don't think they check for it. When they do their physicals and those battery tests at the combine, I don't think they check for CTE. I don't even know if they want to know, right? They don't even check for it like that in the NFL, I don't think. So unless you get a concussion. So in other words, don't ask, don't tell. And it seems to me that there's this case that's happening that got lost in all of this. So earlier this week, you had James Pierce Jr., and then you have this guy that was a first-round draft pick that went to the Super Bowl, killed his girlfriend. And he got talked about one time. So I'm looking at James Pierce Jr. behavior, and I'm reading this story about this guy who played and was a first-round draft pick, and everybody knew him. And apparently he killed his girlfriend. Something like he went to Ohio State or something like that. Or he went somewhere. Ohio State just all in the news. So I could be getting mixed up with the different schools. But whoever it was, he killed his girlfriend. So I'm thinking about, is it possible that either these guys just couldn't control themselves or felt entitled or thought maybe because they played ball, they could get away with it? But maybe a CTE. What do y'all think about that? Be honest, because I don't want to use CTE to explain away domestic violence. Now we don't want to do that, right? We want to take that seriously. And Rickea is going to testify. She agrees she's willing to cooperate and testify with the state in this case. Let's see, former NFL player killed his girlfriend. That just happened, and it seemed like they found her. It's just a bad situation. But it was this week. His name, this is him right here. Ex-New York Jets linebacker. Isn't that what James Pierce Jr. is a linebacker too, right? Darren Lee, jailed with bond on a murder charge. Nashville, Tennessee, where they also went to school. Well, they went Knoxville, but it's still Tennessee. It said a judge on Wednesday kept former New York Jets first-round draft pick Darren Lee, Darron Lee, in jail without bond as he faces a first-degree murder charge in the death of his girlfriend in Tennessee. So again, this happened, it was reported a day ago, and then they had James Pierce Jr. must have been the day or two before that. Yeah. So I don't know. It said there was bodily fluids in every room. New details emerged at a hearing. So sound like it just went off the rails. And when you think about James Pierce Jr., running into Rickea's car head on, she could have died. He could have as well. And we don't know what his intentions were. But here's the thing. All of this is caught on camera. All 5 of these felonies are caught on camera. And 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, alleging crashing into Jackson's car. 1 count of aggravated stalking, aggravated battery of a law enforcement officer, allegedly hitting an officer's knee with his vehicle while fleeing and or eluding the police. 1 misdemeanor count of resisting an officer without violence. And this is caught on camera, and he pled innocent. Now, you let me know. I don't know how this is caught on camera and you plead innocent. I don't know. But now that you have this other guy also in the same state of Tennessee where they went to school, and this is a very violent situation, you kind of do have to ask the question, right? Again, I'm not trying to make light of CTE and use it for every excuse, but linebacker is one of the positions that gets CTE more than others. I hate to say it. And it's actually the positions played by Black people most that get the CTE. And when you think about their behavior, I know Asante Samuel said it's just off-season behavior, but I think with this other case happening at the same time, also Tennessee, they went to Tennessee, it's just kind of making you think that, hey, maybe these guys, people need to look into and see if that's why things went so off the rails, right? I mean, seemingly both of these situations just hella escalated. And what really would have happened if he crashed her head on and the police hadn't been there? Would he have gotten out the car and tried to pull her out? Because here's what it sounds like, right? I don't know. It don't even matter what happened before. There was no ability to stop them or walk away until they just crashed full on out, right? They just had to crash full on out. And apparently you can't really study CTE until they pass, so you can't study the brain. But there has to be some type of test that neurologists can do to just kind of see if there's any decline in cognitive functioning, because I don't think this is a coincidence. But let me know what you think. Now, Rickea Jackson, again, I said that she will testify, willingness to testify at trial, and requesting that the case be expedited. So here's what she's requesting. The WNBA season is coming up. Plus, she's a victim. We don't want to drag this out, and she be in turmoil every day. So they're requesting that the case be expedited so she can heal from this and go back to work. And then also, too, you just kind of want to put some closure here. You don't want to drag it out. And it's not that she'll just testify in court. She will have input in any plea deals, any sentencing that he's given. And I think one of the reasons for that could be because what if there are other things that happen and she has photos and they don't want to talk about it now, and they're thinking about him giving a slap on the face, but she's like, Your Honor, I have these photos, I have this situation. Then what if people find out that this is not new behavior, right? So I haven't heard anything about her other than, she's planning to testify, because people did ask to see how she was doing. I'm sure she's traumatized, right? And that's why they're trying to expedite this process. So, we'll keep her in our prayers. But I do think maybe there needs to be some type of looking into both of these situations, because it would say that CTE is just going unchecked. So let me know what y'all think about the potentiality of CTE in both of those cases. And then, James Pierce Jr. pleading innocent while being on camera, committing 5 felonies and a misdemeanor. All right, so that's that. So finally, I had a chance to talk about that. We keep Rickea Jackson in our prayers, and we wish for healing. And hopefully this situation is expedited so she can move on. it's gonna be some trauma there. It's gonna be some trauma. So, all right. So that's the Rickea Jackson situation. I wanted to talk about that. All right, Trinidad Chambliss. All right. So Trinidad Chambliss, y'all know I follow Trinidad, and I will be watching him play because congratulations to Trinidad. He gets to go back to college for a 6th year. And apparently this was a hard fought fight. And I don't know why it had to be, but there were a lot of people telling Trinidad to just give up. Just let it go. He's only 23. If anybody has the right to be in college, it's him. I mean, we're talking Diego Pavia was granted a 7th year, and somebody else was just given a 9th year. But this kid could not get a 6th year. And as it turns out, in 2022, his coach called him into the office at Ferris, where he went to college, and told him he was going to medical redshirt. So what does that bring up, right? It brings up the stories that are being now discussed on the internet about these players and the transfer portal and redshirting, right? So we have players were redshirting because they were being told to redshirt, so they could stay around. But then you had players with the invention of the transfer portal, they just get told to get in the portal, right? So Trinidad was one of those players that was told to medically redshirt. And he never played a yard of football. He never played a second of football. So there seems to be some type of animosity that this kid kept pushing for this. People were hating on him. The NCAA felt annoyed by it, and annoyed so much that while they were in court being embarrassed because clearly they didn't know how many years this kid played football, but they kept denying him. So apparently they thought he played football for 4 years, and they didn't want to give him a 5th, which is retarded because I thought you could get a 5th. But turns out he only played football for 3 years. And that came out in court, which was highly embarrassing that the NCAA lawyers were not prepared. So they left court before the ruling was announced. So people thought when the NCAA, who earlier today denied him again, he already had appealed to the Mississippi State Court. So after the NCAA denied him again today, a reconsideration. So he appealed, was denied, appealed again, was denied. This was a reconsideration. They denied it. He had already gone to the Mississippi State Court. They took it over to the judge. The judge granted him his 6th year. Now, people are saying it's not really a win because the NCAA can appeal. I'm like, if the NCAA appeals this kid, they don't have to explain why they are targeting him. Because since they said in court with the wrong information about why they were denying him because he played 4 years and blah, 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 and he only played 3, that's not a good look. And for the people who are holding on to an appeal by the NCAA, I'm like, they just granted somebody a 9th season. A 9th season in college. What are you, almost 30? And then they gave Diego Pavia a 7th season. All while they had Trinidad's petition on hold. That was supposed to be wrapped up by Christmas. At the latest, Thanksgiving Eve, or what is it, New Year's Eve. But they kept delaying and stalling. And it was reported yesterday that Trinidad was snubbed by the NFL because he didn't get a combine invite. But the point is, the combine invites went out yesterday. I don't think he had officially declared. I think he put on his page that he was planning to declare because he felt like he was forced to it because the NCAA kept denying him. Then somebody said, Ole Miss said, we'll take this to the Mississippi State Court. So on his behalf, the Mississippi State Court helped him get in front of a judge. And after being denied again with the wrong information by the NCAA, who was highly disrespectful and just walked out of court today before the ruling came out because they knew they lost, the court granted him his 6 years. So he's going back to Ole Miss. People are talking about the schedule and who they have to play. Understand this. I don't know what the hell was the deal. But when Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss, it seemed that there were people feeling like because he was gone, they felt the need to destroy what was still over there. And Ole Miss wasn't supposed to go as far as they did in the playoffs. And then they try to take all their players, and the NCAA was doing its part for Trinidad to be booted out. You see how all of it was working together? And then while the combine is not inviting him, even though he didn't officially declare, but the point is, I don't know why people put that out there. While that was happening, he's going to court today, back in front of the NCAA first, and putting out who's coming out of school next year, which I called it out. I said, that's early. Why are you putting this out right now? And who's at number one? The kid that he threatens the most, the Manning kid. And we're like, why is the Manning kid number one overall over Dante Moore? Why do they have Darian Mensah way at the bottom? And this is what they did last year to Shedeur and to Cam Ward. They put them at 8 and 9 or 8 and 10 respectively last year, when they were actually the 1, the 2, and the 4. Yep, Milroe was the 4. So it seems that there was a coordinated effort. And I have said, if they deny this kid, he just needs to straight up sue them. But because they already had that case in front of a judge in Mississippi State Court, they just took care of it. And maybe the NCAA didn't know about that, but I'm pretty sure they did. But they fought this kid for a 6th year while granting somebody a 9th year earlier this week and 7 years before while his request was pending. It just wasn't fair. So people were like, I don't understand why he just didn't let it go. This kid fought going, this is the only kid I've ever seen fight going to the NFL. I'm like, no, it's not the only person fighting going to the NFL. People don't even know. Caleb Williams fought going to the NFL. In fact, Caleb Williams wanted to go to the UFL. That's how badly he didn't want to go to the NFL. It's documented in a book. I think it's Keys of Quarterback, something like that. And I was kind of taking a look at it today. See, they think Trinidad is the first kid to not want to go to the NFL. I'm like, do you know how many kids just went back to school? And what about all of the players that went to Canada? Because they wanted to, rather than coming to a league that would devalue them. Well, I can't for the life of me to figure out why he wouldn't come to the NFL. I'm like, oh, so you don't see what's going on. You didn't see what happened to Shedeur. You don't know about what happened to Caleb. The NFL told Caleb, we're going to draft you anyway. Because he wanted to go to a different league. As if the UFL wasn't independent. And it was. I don't know if it still is, but it was. So, shout out to Trinidad Chambliss. Hard won fight, but he won. So he's going back to school. I will be talking about whatever he got going on. I'm pretty goddamn sure he will be retaliated against next year. But that don't matter. And I'm pretty sure he got a big deal waiting somewhere. So maybe if he don't get there next year, who cares, right? Just like Dante Moore got $7.5 million to go back to Oregon, and he's sitting at number 2 behind Arch Manning, who's number 1. That's why these kids are like, look, let me just go back to school and get him the hell out of here so we can all play ball, because they're going to cheat everybody. Everybody next year coming into the 2026 class about to get straight up cheated so they can get the Manning kid out at number 1. That's it. And that's what it is. So shout out to Trinidad Chambliss for not listening to people tell him to give up. Why would he give up, right? I'm like, why the hell would you just lay down and go to a league? Of course, I would fight like hell too, because look at what they're doing over there, right? So let's move it on to Malik Willis. Shout out to y'all. I put out a video earlier. Y'all had some really good comments about how y'all felt about the report that the Browns want to get a 3rd starting quarterback in Malik Willis. So y'all had some things to say, and I actually agree. I agree with some of the things that y'all were actually saying. Somebody said, who was it? Paul said, that's just the TV networks, and they full of it. So I said, okay, Paul, I'm going to go with that, right? So Paul saying it was just the TV networks, but do understand, this came out of the Browns camp and was told to somebody. So while I agree that the TV networks are full of it, this actually came from the Browns camp, and I got an update on that for you. And then BJ said, trade Shedeur. Nobody got time for this dumpster fire. So I totally agree. These are y'all's comments under my video. So I haven't even had a chance to like the video yet, to like y'all's comments. Let's see if I can do it now. Okay, so shout out to Paul. The TV networks are full of crap. And BJ said, trade Shedeur. Nobody got time for this dumpster fire of an organization. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm with BJ. I'm like, you know what? It's just too much. Your fans got a petition against you. You don't want us to be your fans because you don't want black fans to hold you accountable. The same reason why they didn't want us on the island. Okay. And you know, you want Malik Willis, you're gonna pay him $40 million, the same number Shedeur used, petty as hell, because you heard that. And you want to dig and be like, well, I'm gonna give Malik Willis the money, but not you. That's what I mean by this is exhausting and mentally in terms of this is childish. And I asked the question, I put out a video. I said, do the Browns know how to run a professional football team? Because why would you want at any time 3 starting quarterbacks? And somebody said in the comments on TikTok, well, we need more than one quarterback for injuries. I said, while it is true, you need multiple quarterbacks. While it is true, you do need multiple quarterbacks. You don't need 3 starters. These are 3 players. Deshaun can be a start. Deshaun is a QB1. Shedeur is a QB1. And Malik Willis is a QB1. And you know what people were trying to say? Well, he was drafted in the 3rd round. And it's documented like it is for Shedeur, like it is for Deshaun. Each of them are 1st round projected athletes. But what happened? When they got to the draft, the owners showed you how they do. They don't give a damn about the combine results. They don't give a damn about years of scouting and watching film. The owners undermine the evaluation process because they chose preference over talent. Now, mind you, we first saw this with Shedeur in the draft, but now, since they brought Malik Willis into it, I go back and I look at Malik Willis and see what was he supposed to be. Not only was it documented that he's a 1st round pick, that he was evaluated at a 1st round pick, there are still videos up on the conversations that were happening leading up to the draft with people asking before and after the draft, why wasn't he a 1st round pick? So I love that they still have that historical timestamp information there, right? Because it supports what's documented by the scouts and the evaluators. And it supports a pattern that the owners put all these players and people to work to scout and evaluate, and they undermine the process. You know what Trinidad Chambliss victory today is, whether it's appealed or not? You know what the message is to quarterbacks, to Black quarterbacks? Y'all gonna have to go to court behind your damn jobs. That's what you're gonna have to do. And if you didn't have NIL money and NIL deals, I bet you wouldn't even be able to do it because it would be too costly. There will be nothing for a lawyer to take the case for free for because you're trying to go back to school for a scholarship rather than $5 billion. And they can get something from that. So NIL has shown that it was perfect timing for these Black quarterbacks. People are upset that he wanted fairness. They weren't being fair with him. That's the thing about it. People like, I don't get it. I'm like, know how the hell you don't get it? It's amazing to me how they just listen. Oh, Shedeur is not that good. Who told you that? It's documented that he's the 1st round pick. It's documented. What the question that people should be asking, and I'm probably gonna ask the question at some point because I see we keep asking questions. Why is it that Deshaun, Shedeur, and others, along with Malik Willis, were all evaluated at 1st round picks, but the owners who showed us that they are the decision makers because the owners took Shedeur off the board. So that was a revelation right there. The GMs are just puppets and patsies. The owners decide who's going to run their team. So the owners are undermining the evaluation process. And one of the tenets of one of those lawsuits out there against the NFL after the draft is the way they conduct business. They don't supposedly have a formal system of evaluation, but that's a lie. They have years of film. They have hours and hours of scouting across the country. They have regional scouts. They have national scouts. They have the combine, the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl. And they send scouts to all of those things, and scouts turn in their report, and they grade these players. And Shedeur, Deshaun, and Malik are all 1st round projected quarterbacks. But when you get to the draft, that's where the switch up happens. And the owner undermines the entire process to do what the hell they want to do. And that's where the discrimination comes in. They get evaluated fairly. And then an analyst tries to interpret the results by saying they can't read complex defenses. They say this a lot about Black quarterbacks. But Shedeur proved that that's bullshit, because he came right on in and carved up the first team defense from the Carolina Panthers and made surgical throws with no development, a lack of first team reps, no chemistry. So there's a problem here. We have a severe problem here. Instead of the NFL, the ruling being you need to go and put a process together, they have a process. The owners, some of the same owners that are in the Epstein files, and I talked about this earlier because it's important, chose to undermine the process to do what they wanted to do and lied, blamed the Black man to cover it up. Does it sound familiar? Epstein with the mouth sores saying a Black guy tried to kiss him when in fact, cannibalism, allegedly. You got to say allegedly, or at least appears to be so. But it's documented. People figured out what jerky meant. People figured out what beef stew meant. People figured out what grape soda meant. People. When people on the internet talk about SA, what do they call it? They put a G in front of the R and they call it grape. That's what they were talking about. And I'm going to let you figure out what the soda is. All right. So back to the comments. Shout out to y'all for these comments. And I am like BJ. Trade Shedeur. Nobody have time for this dumpster fire. I totally agree. Now, Donald said, is Ben Roethlisberger in the Epstein files? I know you mentioned Peyton Manning, but what about Ben also? I don't think so. It said recently Joy Porter came out on the record saying what a bad person Ben was. But yeah, I don't think his name was in the Epstein files that I'm aware of. And I think the survivor said they're going to start telling who the people are. And actually, people already been putting their names out there. And apparently there was this serial unaliver in Arizona, and they think it was Epstein at his Zorro Ranch, right? And they were covering up something because they closed the airspace over around El Paso for 10 days, which I have never heard of anybody's airspace being closed for 10 days. Like, you can't even come this direction. And I think that was because the files were coming out, and they already had people with drones surveilling the place. And citizens, if they are allowed to, could actually put together an around-the-clock drone surveillance, because this place was never, ever investigated, even though somebody that worked there told that some girls were buried and why they were buried. And they leased the land around there, and they stopped the leases. So it's a cover-up. That's the point. It's cover-up. And even a former police officer told what was happening, and nobody looked into anything. So it's all relative. Everything that I'm saying right now and talking about the modus operandi, the MO, for the owners to undermine the process that was put in place to protect the integrity of the scouting, of the draft. They undermined it in 2025, and we saw it. And now they're working to undermine it again by seemingly going back in again and working with NCAA to push out Trinidad Chambliss so he won't be there in 2027 to be the story, or 26. But he was granted by a Mississippi State judge or Mississippi judge. He can go back to school. So that changes things. Now it should explain to you why they ran out and put that Arch Manning was number one without Chambliss. Why would you put that out there so early? At the same time, he's appealing because you knew it was going to be denied, but I guess you didn't know what the judge was going to do in Mississippi. And now, yeah, you can appeal it all you want to. The NCAA surely can, but guess what? the way they acted up in court, disrespected the court, got up and walked out before the ruling came. Good luck with that shit. Who does that? It just shows how entitled they are. And I think they brought a black lawyer with them. See, that seems to be the trend. Oh, let's just bring a black person with us and they won't think we're what? That don't mean that. We know black people can help uphold white supremacy. So that's an old and tired trick. But he gonna be the one to catch hell for it. Watch what I tell you. They gonna forget the white lawyer's name. But that's on him. I saw the same thing happening in Atlanta. I was just taking a peek at what was happening over there. And they have this theory. And I said, let me read this. So the theory is, you know what? We don't need to worry about the quarterback position and who's the quarterback. We need to put together a team that can win without the quarterback. I said, oh, so when the quarterback is black, you want to win some other kind of way. But over there in Buffalo, everything goes through Josh Allen, including the goddamn coach can get fired even if he had a winning record. You see? So when a quarterback is black, let's just undermine him. Let's just circumvent him. So it was a white guy and a black guy. And the black guy was like, yeah, I'm right. I'm like, he's so dumb. That's exactly what the Browns tried to do last year. We talked about that. I said, watch. They want the defense to do all the work. And they want the quarterback position with Dylan to become the supporting cast. But it was so bad with Dylan, the defense got tired of doing all the work and he couldn't help out. But then when Shedeur got to the helm, the defense eased up. They slacked off. And now Jim Schwartz don't have a job. See, that's why you don't do that. And neither does Zachary Orr from the Baltimore Ravens. Remember him? And that's why you don't do that. I told y'all Zach Orr was going to get let go. Who remembers me saying it? I said, watch they let him go. If you pay attention, most of the people that are on the free agency list, most, not all, are the ones who were used to sabotage Shedeur. Zachary Orr probably was already earmarked to be pushed out. So they used him to go easy on Dylan and to be intense with Shedeur, and he's black. Some of these players and coaches act like they in a fraternity and everybody the same color, blue or red or white. Never black. And they use them, like Jerry Jeudy, to turn on their black counterparts, they black coworkers, even if they can help them get to the Super Bowl. It's some kind of weird manipulation that happens over and over. So now there's a trend with wide receivers giving up on their routes when the quarterback is black. I don't know what they say to them. I don't know if they took them out there to Epstein Island. I don't know what the hell it is, but it could be me. Only black quarterbacks and only black wide receivers. After Mark Andrews was the tight end and caught hell for it, and he got greatly rewarded. Let's see if Jerry Jeudy get rewarded. So there's actually a list. There's actually a list that points to one second. There's actually a list of players that they feel like are slated to be traded. Now, Shedeur didn't make the list, but Jerry Jeudy made the list, and Denzel Ward made the list. Now, let me just say this. Bleacher Report put together the list, so I think it's just their opinion. But what I wanted to ask you guys was, how do you feel, or what do you think about the possibility of Denzel Ward being traded? I'm not worried about Jerry Jeudy because his contract is heavy. It's Malik Collins, the defensive tackle, Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver, and Denzel Ward, the cornerback. Here's what I've noticed about the Browns. They have talked about Malik Willis, possibly getting a quarterback in free agency. We talking about trading Denzel Ward, maybe a defensive tackle, Malik Collins, or maybe wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy. They already got rid of the tight end, David Njoku, and they already know slated to cut June 1st, is wide tough. When the hell y'all gonna focus on the O-line? You see? Jerry Jeudy should have been the first one gone. You see how there's no mention? There's no mention. Oh, we need to start switching out O-line. No mention. But you want to focus on the quarterback. And when you already have 2 starters, you want to get a 3rd starter. So you just want to get shit you don't need. You want to push out Njoku, who you could actually keep because you got dead cap space anyway, at the 2nd tight end. But I guess you have plans for Blake Whiteheart or Brendan Bates or Canales, which means you have plans for Harold Fanning Jr. that he don't know about yet. Probably his season gonna go similar to last year. At some point, he gonna have to be unavailable. Because remember, Monken was the one that used Mark Andrews as the tight end to fail Lamar. So, to me, Denzel Ward getting traded. What, he been at 6 years? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Jerry Jeudy, I personally don't think he's going nowhere. I think if Jerry Jeudy was going to be traded, they would have got rid of they would have got rid of him first. And he's not a free agent because he's not listed as one. And he just got that contract in 2024. And I don't think it was 2 years. I think it might have been 3. I mean, maybe they could trade him, but they're going to have to take some dead cap space. So somebody in the comments said, I think they just playing mind games. And I think I agree with that. So let's read this comment right here. These are the comments from our community that y'all have put together based on what we talked about. Normally I share a lot of other stuff, but this was such good conversation. I wanted to, share with y'all what thinking. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, who is this? We have 70 Cheveless. 70 Cheveless. It said Cleveland will play all 3 quarterbacks, meaning Malik Willis, Shedeur Sanders, and Deshaun Watson. That's what our community is saying. So nobody will get the QB1 starter. And at the end of their contracts, their stats won't look good to warrant a new, bigger contract. Now, why would I agree with that? Because that's what they've already done. Stefanski did the same thing in 2023 when he rotated 5 quarterbacks, but really it was 7. Somebody who had never played all season closed out the wild card game instead of him going back to the 3 quarterbacks that were rotated to put together a winning record. And you know why? Because none of them stood out as a star because they never had enough time. It's the same thing they said with Shedeur. Oh, yeah, he did play by 7 or 8 games, but that wasn't enough. Dylan only played 10. So what? He got to come back too? Did Dylan even play 10 games? I don't even know if he played 10 games. Maybe he did. I don't know. Well, no, that can't be right because there's only 18. So I don't even know how many Shedeur or Dylan played, but what they're trying to say about the game Shedeur played, ignore his performance and just look at the sheer number of games. And it just wasn't enough time to tell us that he's good. Now, understand this. That's what all of them hours of film for, all those hours of scouting, the combine, the Shrine Bowl that they asked him not to play. See, all of that was used against him, but they asked him not to play. And even if, why are we using other people's Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, bowl games, regular season, 4 years of film, 2-3 years of scouting? Why are we not using all of that? And then let's not forget the competition actually in camp. So I agree. If whoever it is, I personally don't think it's Malik Willis because $40 million for somebody to be a bridge, to block 2 other people that they know for a fact they don't want any of them to be the starter next year because they have done all of this for the Manning kid. They have slowed down and stalled and put everything on hold for the Manning kid. And he didn't come out in 26. So I need to put everything on hold again until the 27 draft. They're not letting go of that. They're not letting go of that. There's nothing about the Manning kid that would let On3 independently put him first. He don't even have nothing to go with that. He don't have stats for that. He don't have accolades for that. He don't even have performances for that. So they working together, and the timing is when Trinidad was asking for another year, because it tells you they thought it was going to be a no. And it was a no. And then it's a yes. So once again, their plans mean they have to pivot. So now Trinidad is going back to school. See, they already had him handled in the draft, saying, like Malik Willis, he's a third round QB, when really he's first round QB. And people kept trying to tell him, just come on out. You'll be a top 3 QB. No, he wouldn't. They said Shedeur was number 2 overall. They said that Jalen Milroe was number 40 overall to the Saints. I knew when Kellen Moore got the job, that wasn't going to happen. And get this, right? Remember Derek Carr, or is it Derek Carr? Which one is the one that was with the Saints recently? I think Derek Carr, because he came from Vegas, right? Why Derek Carr just came out, I screenshot it, but I ain't going to share it. I'll just tell you. Came out and said he wants to unretire. I said, oh, hell no. Because you blocked Shedeur. I remember distinctly the Saints saying, yeah, we don't need a quarterback because we got Carr. And after the draft, after Shedeur was pushed down in the draft, and they used that to justify with David Carr being over there, whichever one it was, now he want to come back because he retired right after that. And he even had to give back money. And now he want to get the money back and come back and play. They'll probably let him, but it's not going to be kind to you. He blocked Shedeur just like Aaron Rodgers did. And now he want to come back. And now Aaron Rodgers want to leave. You see? Just playing musical chairs to block the black quarterback and blame his daddy. That's all that was. It's not a coincidence suddenly he want to come back before free agency starts, before the combine, so people can put him on their agenda. And the Browns are crazy enough to do it. And the Saints are crazy enough to help them do it. What y'all think about Carr talking about coming back after retiring? Blocking Shedeur. All the times I heard them say, yeah, we got Carr. We don't need a quarterback. That's exactly what they did with Geno Smith. And you know what they did? After the draft, Geno Smith is trash. I'm like, well, damn. Y'all said he was good. That you didn't need Shedeur. So you don't need to draft him. You got Geno Smith. Now he trash. So let me get this straight. Aaron Rodgers want to leave Pittsburgh after Shedeur has been blocked. And Will Howard is over there now. Carr want to come back after he blocked Shedeur from New Orleans. And Geno Smith is suddenly trash after you used him to block Shedeur from Vegas. Wow. You see the lengths that people went through to block Shedeur. That's how damn good he is. That's how good he is. Same thing with Trinidad Chambliss in the NCAA. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. That kid is going to be the story, but they're going to try to make sure he knocks. You got to be careful. Keep his head on a swivel. Him and Shedeur. They on the same, they on 2 different tracks on 2 different levels. Think one high, one a little lower. You put Shedeur on the pro level and Trinidad in college. They at the same place at the same time, going into a season where nobody wants them to be the star. And they both are bona fide stars. They both should likely be the story. They both will likely be targeted. I hate to say it, but it's just true. It's just true. And then maybe people can see how the NCAA and the NFL likely work together. Just like they did to suppress Shedeur behind Dillon in college and again in the NFL. It's the same thing. See, this year, instead of it being Shedeur in college and Shedeur in the NFL, it's Trinidad in college and Shedeur in the NFL. So you get to see the same thing again, just presented to you a little differently. Yep, that's what it is. So, all right. So, shout out to 70 Chambliss for that. I totally agree with you. They're going to rotate any quarterbacks they get to make sure Shedeur can't be officially QB1 on the record. Deshaun, if he plays, won't be QB1 on the record because they don't want anybody to sign him after his contract is up. They want him to be like Russell Wilson. Just go away. Serious. That's what it is. So if they let him ball, that's why they didn't let him play this year. If they would have let Deshaun ball out healthy toward the end of the season, then technically another team could come along and say, hey, let's get him. But they don't want that. So we're not going to create that situation. He gets out here and ball out, and then nobody wants him like they did Lamar. Then it's easier to see the collusion. So it's best that he don't play, which is probably why when we came to the Cleveland situation with Shedeur, we kept hearing what? He's played his last snap in the NFL because that's what they want. Just like Russell, just be gone. Take your money and go. Same thing. So thank you for that. I think you're spot on. It said Willis is going to get Shedeur Sanders $40 million. Not talking bad on Willis. He's just a pawn in this mess. And Willis will also get the number 2 just to piss off 12. I mean, I could see it. But after having all of this conversation right before I went live, I read that Tony, what's his name? Tony Grossi, the one that be flip-flopping all over the place. I tell you, I don't really listen to these people. So now so understand this. The Malik Willis situation came out because the Browns sent somebody out here with the $40 million in their mouth after Shedeur said that. And that's what somebody said they playing mind games because they not doing that, right? So now today, right before I went live, Tony Grossi was saying, yeah, I don't think they're going to get Malik Willis because the salary cap is already trash. And I talked about that. They already over the salary cap by $15 million. Now they got to add another $24 million because they let Njoku walk. So that's that. They crazy enough. And they still paying I think they still paying Jameis Winston. They think they still paying other people. So, and if they send Jerry Jeudy somewhere, that's their cap space because they definitely owe him money because he went from a $28 million guarantee to like a $41 million guarantee in 1 year. He only been there 2 years. I, for the life of me, don't know what he did to get the money because he leads the league in drop passes this year and last year. So they seem keen on keeping him. So now Rossi's saying, I don't think the Malik Willis thing gonna happen. Here, it don't matter. I agree with 70 Chambliss in terms of doing something to piss Shedeur off. Whoever said they were playing mind games is spot on. It's not a coincidence they came out and said that with the same number that Shedeur said. That's why I said these are some petty MFs. That's why I said Shedeur got to watch his stuff. This shows you, just look how petty the Department of Homeland Security is. This the same kind of petty from people who are supposed to be professionals. Which means they hanging on to Shedeur's every word. And they're retaliatory. So just like they didn't want him with the number 2 and they gave it to the Andre guy, that guy didn't play all season. I think that dude was on injured reserve the entire season. You know what that says? They just didn't want Shedeur with the 2. That's how petty they are. That's how vengeful, spiteful, disgustingly gross they are. So I agree with 70 Chambliss. Oh, they just saying Malik Willis because he wear the 2. What did I say today? Don't be lost on the fact that he wear the number 2. What did I say about Huntley? Don't be lost on the fact that what number he had on. I forgot what he had on. Somebody had on the 2. I said, don't get lost on it. I think Huntley had a picture somewhere else with a 2 on it. And I said, don't get lost on it. Don't get lost on it. I think that's why Huntley became really close with Shedeur because he knew what the Browns were doing, which is why he has said he don't want to go back there. Understand, they didn't trade Huntley to Baltimore. They just cut him loose. That's what they want to do with Shedeur. Like they did Tony Brown. Just terminate your contract. I'm sure they have plans and they have a date circled on the calendar. At some point, they no longer care. Because as you can see, putting out that whole Manny kid being number 1 overall, they tried the same thing last year. But he underperformed, so they stopped tracking him. So they back at it. So let's see how much they start talking about the Manny kid. I don't know why they're sitting on it like they're not making moves for it because they already been stacking the dominoes. I think it's because of the Peyton Manning in the Epstein file situation. Because last year they were salivating to talk about it. They look foolish putting that kid first on the chart and as poorly as he played in the beginning. And don't think one of them games was rigged, and you know which one it was. The one I heard them say, the quarterback for Oklahoma have a broken thumb, but he gonna play. I was like, okay, so I see where we going with this. Anything to make him look good. All right, so that's where we are on y'all's comments. All right, so now we can move on. So shout out to y'all for your comments today on my video about why the hell WTH, what the hell, why are the Browns trying to acquire 3 starting quarterbacks? And shout out to y'all for the comments. I appreciate the insight. Because that don't make no sense, right? So they're gonna get somebody. That's why Andrew Berry still has a job, to get somebody, whether it's in free agency to make people go, what the hell are you doing? Or in the draft, what the hell are you doing? And I think they was going to try to, this is why I think they were trying to push Trinidad out. So to put him over there. Yeah. Get him out the 3rd round where they got Dylan and put him over there. Because if you seriously could put your lips together and tell somebody to say you keen on Malik Willis, you thought, well, I don't know what response they thought they were going to get, but I don't think they liked the response that they got. Then they got this petition out here that they've already responded to. And I checked, it was at like 931. So yesterday when we talked about it, it was like at 904. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. So we got about what, 25 people that went and signed it. So, you know, I think there should be more, but hey, I ain't gonna tell you what to do. But go sign the petition. Get the link. I'll put the link in the chat again. Maybe y'all can get it to 1,000. But yeah, the petition is out there. I mean, that might make them act a little different. You know what I'm saying? That might make them act a little different. Okay, so let's move on to my next topic. Is this it? Let's see if this is the... Okay, this is it. This is the link to... Just copy and paste it. Why it look like it's 2? That's it right there, though. That's the... Yeah, change.org. That's the petition, guys. So... All right, so next on my topic, my list is the Buffs. All right, so I know y'all have heard that there apparently is a disgruntled parent who used to play for the Buffs, who's considered alumni, who played for the Seahawks, who possibly went to a Super Bowl, and his kid either wanted to play at Colorado or did and didn't materialize. And this guy is running around on social media trashing Coach Prime. Now, people are calling him out, and they went and dug up his kid's stats, and his kid wasn't very good, and they just say he's disgruntled, right? But it feeds into what I've said about people at Colorado, because I feel like if they respected Coach Prime, that wouldn't happen. You wouldn't have these different factions of alumni running around trying to trash Coach Prime, and this person was just in NFL recently or something like that. You wouldn't have that. And people said, think about what you're saying. You're saying Coach Prime is all flash and no substance. Think about Colorado's program when you were there. It was trash. And look at it now. Because people were just pointing out the difference, the Prime effect the other day, with the stadiums being empty to the stadiums being full. And while it's true, he has sold out 3 seasons, they still were trying to get rid of him. See, that's disrespect that I don't think you come back from that. I mean, sure, you can stay over there, but they not going to be no different. So you just going to have to grin and bear it as long as you choose to stay there. And what was one of the alums' response? That Coach Prime, the best case scenario if he was just quit. So 1, you lured him over here to get Travis back to a PWI after Coach Prime brought him to HBCU. 2, you paid him all this money knowing you was never going to give him none of it. And 3, since he's still here and you know he survived cancer, you making his life hell. And you don't want to pay him. You just want him to quit. I will be checking with them doctors to see if what they said is what it was, because seemingly they kind of thought that would take him down. or disrupt him, so he'd have to go to the doctor every week. But he chose the surgery, survived it, and is doing fine. And they still taking shots at it. The Big 12, the university itself, talking about we don't have no money. Why don't you have any money? But see, they said when they first brought him to Colorado, they didn't have the money. And they went and found it, right? So shut up and go find it. Talk about ungrateful, which meant they didn't care about the 3 sold out seasons. That's not really what it was about. They didn't even care that he went 93 last year. They didn't care about going to a bowl game. They cared about not losing the overall race in recruits, with Black recruits starting to go to HBCUs because of Coach Prime. And you can kind of see how that could have materialized when you now look at former NFL players turn successful coaches in HBCUs, including one from Coach Prime's coaching tree recently over at Southern University. What's his name? I feel like he's from New Orleans too. The one that was a running back coach. I can never remember his name, but him. And then think about Michael Vick, who Coach Prime was mentoring, and think about Deshaun Jackson. Not that Coach Prime was mentoring him, but he's his first year, just like Coach Prime at Jackson State. He was successful at Delaware State. And there'll be others. They try to find somebody on that level, because HBCUs understand now having a celebrity former NFL coach does more than win football games. They sell tickets. They put butts in seats, and they want that. So while they lost Travis, they gained the blueprint, and they seem to be using it. I'm not upset at all. I'm waiting for, Alabama State is doing good, but don't get me wrong. I've been to their games. They don't need no help putting butts in seats. They really don't. But I still think they could benefit because they have a female flag football player who's drawing attention to the school because she played in the NFL game and the NFL recognizes her. Again, it's different. She's not considered a threat, not making millions of dollars, not bringing no clout, but she is bringing the culture. And as long as that culture doesn't have any influence, then they're okay with it, right? So Kilolo, that's her name. And that's new for them, but I still think they could benefit from a Coach Prime as well because they so close to Atlanta. Y'all have no idea. Them kids just go right up and down. I don't even know if it's 75, 85, 20. I feel like it's 20 or something like that. And it's nothing for them to hop in the car and just come to Atlanta because it's less than 2.5 hours away. So shout out to them. But the HBCUs have caught on. Now, I think there was a conversation recently about no combine invites went to any HBCU players. And I think one of the agents, it's a lady, she was talking about that. I said I was going to have to go back and read it to see what she was talking about. But HBCUs are still winning because every year we gain coaches. We may have lost Eddie George. We may have lost Coach Prime, but we have more than that now, right? So, and they starting to go to the schools. The band match the football team. So that's good, right? And maybe it's better if we grow with the foundation of the coaches first, right? To get kind of things together. Like Deshaun Jackson has a new, what they call that, practice facility. And you know how they have that work. Would they have all of that at CU? Would they have the locker rooms and all that stuff together? It's just really expensive. Well, he has that over at, Delaware State. So as these schools step up and build up the facilities and build up a winning tradition, and of course the band helps and the homecoming helps and everything helps. But I think it's good if we build it up on a firm foundation, and it's going to take time. And that means they can take time to get the right coach who used to play in the NFL, not just a body. So that's what I think about that. All right. So something else I wanted to talk about was at Colorado. Here it is right here. We were talking about who are the quarterbacks. So I found a post that shows who the quarterbacks are. So let's take a look. Let's see who we recognize. Everybody we know, Juju. But guess who else is on here? That's right. We were wondering if Ponder was on here, and he is. So it says Colorado 2026 QB room. Julian Lewis. Y'all know Juju. This is QB1 as far as I know. I don't think we're supposed to be competing this year. I think that's what it is. And then we have Utah. Look like somebody from Utah. Yeah, somebody from Utah, Isaac Wilson. I don't know him. I have to look into him. Let me know what y'all know about Isaac Wilson. And then we have Keneal Sweetwine, number 13. Okay, he seems new. Isn't this Caleb old number? Is Caleb on defense? I thought he was on offensive defense. Caleb Mathis, isn't he 13? But let me know. Maybe it's on a different side of the box. And there we are, Dominique Ponder. So Ponder's still there. He hung in there. So we're going to have to see how this goes. The spring game will be in April. I'm going to see if I can go to the spring game. If it's cold, I don't want to go. It's already warmed up again during the day here in Atlanta, so I don't really want to go back to cold, but I'll do it. I heard Shiloh is, he streamed that he's going to be snowboarding in Breckenridge, so I'm going to try to check in on that tomorrow or whenever he going to snowboard, but he posted it today on his Twitch. But here we go. These are the 4 quarterbacks. Y'all have any thoughts about this? Y'all have any thoughts about a player coming from Utah? We know Ryan Staub ended up at Tennessee. Interesting. And then the other kid, Carlton, I don't know, maybe he moved on, graduated or something. But we thought Ponder was gone. We didn't know if he was gone. We didn't know if he'll be back. Here he is. So Juju, Ponder, new kid, Isaac Wilson, and Keneal Sweetwine. So let me know your thoughts about that. Let me know your thoughts about that. Because I think, I think it would be good to kind of understand if y'all have any insight. All right. Now, there was this video. I'm going to go back and I'm going to share it. It's the Buffs. It's not very long. It just shows them working out a little bit. So we just kind of checking in on them. I normally don't like to get too into the Buffs until after the spring game. But there's only one portal this year. So you would think everybody's there is going to be there. So there's no danger of anybody leaving. That's usually why they want to get involved, because people can leave. But there's one portal, so maybe we can get a little bit involved now, a little earlier and see what's happening. So check this out. It's reported that JoJo has emerged as a leader of the team in only 1 year. So let's check this out. I still see Coleman. He's still over there. I think Ben Finesse is still over there, but he got a leg brace on. This is they working out. Coach Swayze doing his thing. Doing the ladders. I think that's what I call it anyway. Okay. There's the working out coming together. So that's the Buffs. Look like everybody's engaged and working. Yeah, that's Coleman. That's him. Okay. I recognize somebody. Remember last year we did name that Buff? We might have to do that again. I'm excited for these guys. I have a feeling I think they're going to be good this year. I think they're going to be good. I don't know why I think that, but in my heart, I kind of feel like they're going to allow it to be played football. Maybe Coach Prime got all of the right out. Again, does anybody know about the Livingston guy? Did he get the job at Dallas, or is this him with the hat on? I'm trying to see. I think these are just strength and conditioning coaches. That's JoJo. Yeah, this is nice. I have to see who put this together. I really love to watch Coach Swayze do his thing with these guys, because they really transform after what they call it, after the spring workout or whatever is over, when they finish their conditioning before they start practicing. So, yeah, I don't know if he's still there. So y'all have to let me know. Is Livingston still over there? Remember he interviewed with I'm headed over to the comments. Remember he interviewed with the Dallas Cowboys? Did he get the job? Did he come back? Let me know in the comments what y'all know. Because I know y'all be keeping up with the Bucs. I guess we can keep up now since there's only one portal. Because, I just hated it. Like, you get invested in it and people leave. But they can't do that now. So, and there's a lot of people on the internet talking about the portal too. So, we learning. All right. So, let's see what we have. Who over here in the comments? Shout out to y'all, 135 of us. Hit the like button. Thank y'all for hanging out again. Is this our second live of the day? Could be. It could be. All right, let's see who was in here. Welcome, Ramon. How you doing? Team Lead, Ramon. How you doing? Please like, hype, and subscribe. Yes, and thank y'all for hyping up my last video. I already saw y'all. Thank y'all so much. Remember to bet on Nola Girl. Thanks. That big facts. Hey Tina, how you doing? Get the likes up. Yes, thank you. Lady T in the house. Miss Pam in the house. Hey Sage, welcome back. Hey Anthony, good evening, Queen. Let's get it. It said, hey there, Ramon and Lady T. I love when y'all greet each other in the chat. Absolutely love it. Hey Isaiah, welcome back. Yes, this is DHS. So people are like, is this really DHS? Yes. Yes. I'm telling you, I thought the same thing. I'm like, so it's just nothing real and professional and serious no more. Like this is just, how sometimes you see Wendy's clap back at McDonald's or something crazy like that online. I expect that, right? Because they corporate and they pay them social media to be funny. This is the Department of Homeland Security. These people rolled up with tanks to his house. Not that they weren't supposed to, but I'm just saying that's who we talking about here. We're talking about anything dealing with, isn't at the airport when you go through TSA, aren't they part of Homeland Security? I mean, this is supposed to be the serious stuff, the security of the country, of the nation. And they out here targeting a citizen on social media? What are we doing? Crazy. That's why I'm like, this is the entire federal government, Homeland Security. Yes, it was real. That's why I was like, this can't be real, but it was real. It was real. I'm like, okay. No more decorum. Absolutely. It said we are watching the fall of America. Well, it damn sure is unserious. It damn sure unserious. Hey sis, how you doing? Welcome back, Isaiah. It said, what about the shutdown? I didn't hear nothing about the shutdown. What you say? They should be talking about a shutdown, maybe? I didn't hear. They seem too busy to be talking to Cardi to talk about a shutdown. I didn't hear nothing about that, Ramon. It said DHS isn't the same. They fired everybody. Okay. Coach over there saying Falcons gonna cut who? Who the Falcons gonna cut? Pierce? They already talking about his jersey on clearance. I'm like, well, $99 ain't exactly a clearance, but it is on sale. It is on sale. I will tell you that. I saw that. They posted it online. But they getting their folks in line over there with the media doing like they did with the Browns last year, coming out with all this information like they the first team to think of certain things. And this is what we're going to do. I'm like, this is what happened with the Browns last year. They going right down the same path that the Browns went down. And because they expect people to be siloed and focused on this one team and not holistically, it's happening. The crap is just happening. So if y'all hear anything about Carl coming back for sure, y'all let me know. It said, they say she was on her way to file a complaint against him. Against who? Against who? Let me know. Let me know, Destiny. Yeah, Destiny got a little T, so maybe we can get it. It said it could be a disorder. What's that transforming? Let me know. I'm not sure what you're talking about. He is his own son. It says, sorry, chat, but it could not have been my daughter. It would have been more like furniture moving. Oh, yeah. She got like 3 brothers. I think she got like 3 brothers. I knew that because I watched a documentary on her at the University of Tennessee. And when she was with him for the draft, I didn't know he went to Tennessee until then. I said, oh, they went to school together. So they've been knowing each other a minute. So I don't know. People say if you talk to the folks in Tennessee, there's a story. But I don't know if it's about her or somebody else. We're going to see. We're going to see. Pierce Jr. Oh, yeah. Oh, facts. I'd be in Fulton Street right now. Wright Street or whatever they call it over there. I would be. Just the thought, right? And why he thought he could treat her like property and disregard everything else, I don't know. But if you go watch Asante Samuel podcast, he seems to think it's something that happens every off season with different people, and they got a name for it informally. Y'all let me know. Anybody watch the Asante Samuel podcast and see what he said? It said this athlete crashing out, blowing their careers. Yep. And their freedoms. Because 5 and then you talk about you innocent and you on camera. I mean, just declaring innocent to something like that and you on camera make me ask, are you not wrapped too tight? Because you do know you was on camera. Like at this point, I would just, you still fighting it basically. You're still fighting the reality. Just like you were fighting those officers. Like, no, you on camera. You did all of this on camera. Like, I don't know what he could possibly say or what his defense gonna be, but you know what these guys need to understand when they run out and get these lawyers, especially with the Epstein files coming out, all these people work together. So while you think you paying them all this money to get you off, you better ask Gunner. because Gunner told it. Yep, sure did, because they be working together. Yep. So it said the schools look at other direction when it comes to domestic violence. That's what we talking about, Miss Pamela. Oh, y'all remember when don't y'all think it's interesting how Quinshon Judkins, when he got drafted, that situation came up and it went away, and the Browns kept saying, we still gonna look into it. I'm like, the DA said it ain't nothing here. What the hell are you doing? And then it just disappeared. And how Lane Kiffin was supposed to be talking about him because he left Ole Miss. And how after Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss, they tried to tear down the program with Trinidad Chambliss over there so they couldn't get to the bowl game, and they did. And then they didn't want to let him come back to school. And Quinshon ended up in Cleveland. Like Isaiah Bond, who also got devalued. And Shedeur, who also got devalued. I mean, if Kyron Lacey had lived, I think he would have been in Cleveland. What y'all think? Him or Isaiah Bond? It said, why are they so emotional? I don't know what it is. It says somebody's been overly emotional and suffer from misplaced anger. Yep, that could be it. Because I don't know what makes you get in your car and run into somebody head on. I don't even think that that's kind of like biting your own hand. I don't even think I could hurt myself like that. Because if you crash into somebody head on, you're likely to get hurt as well. And that's just not clear thinking. So it just kind of, you know what they say young people do? Because how old is James Pierce Jr.? Under the age of 25, they say they flash out. That's what the term is. Let me see how old he is. Definitely not making excuses. We're just talking about what could be his problem. Maybe just lack of self-control. I don't know. But it usually stems from decision-making and a underdeveloped frontal lobe. See, he only 22. See what I'm saying? Now, in the criminal justice system, they actually use that theory of the underdeveloped, lack of fully developed frontal lobe. That's actually a theory in juvenile justice and in the criminal justice system. These young people on the age of, and he acted just like one. Like you didn't think this through. But Asante Samuel did play in the NFL, so I kind of buy into what he says sometimes. And when he was just saying, this happens every offseason. These dudes let this, and he had a name for it. And let me see if I can find it. He had a name for it. And I mean, maybe he know what he's talking about. I mean, you know, he know what he's talking about. He know what he's talking about. That's what I'm saying. I mean, and that's what he's saying. It happens every offseason. Every offseason. And people were like, what do you think could have happened to make him crash out like that? I said, he didn't get his weight. I'm like, that's what happened. Because she didn't want to go back with him. And they was on again, off again. And she probably was scared to break up with him because he might be a little touched. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking for Asante Samuel on James Pierce Jr. Let's see if it come up. Let's see what he said. He just said it's something, some kind of, I'll see if I can find it. Maybe we'll just look at it tomorrow. But we might look at it tomorrow because I want to share what he said and I don't want to get it wrong. But it was something about SFT or TFS or FTS, some kind of, he named it something. But he said it happens every offseason and these guys let this happen because of, you know, they frustrated. That's what he said. So now see, this is my thing. She broke up with him because he was controlling. I'm like, well, yeah, because, you know, chasing people through traffic and, you know, ramming into their car head on. Yeah, that's kind of, that's pretty bad. And they said something about his mom. Was saying she thought he had CTE. And then everybody blaming the GM of the Falcons that got fired. I'm like, well, damn. They talking about another bad decision by Terry Fontenot. I'm like, I thought he put together a pretty good team for what y'all was saying. So they're saying James Pierce Jr. had red flags. That's what they call it. And no team, all the teams backed off of him. And the Falcons GM was trying to save his job. So he figured the guy would pop and do well in his first year. So he took the risk. That's what they're saying. So I'm going to look and see what Asante Samuel said. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. It said, I heard Junior possibly getting the book thrown. I mean, yeah, you can't just think about Ray Rice. I mean, some people might say this is not that, but I mean, you did ram your car into her head on and the potential for her and you to get injured, and you ran into a cop. You ran into a cop's knee, which means you was gonna run his leg over. I don't know if they have no place in football. Like, I don't know. Football's already a violent sport, so he might get. I mean, he does have 5 felonies, McMillan. So, I mean, I don't see a place where he come back to the NFL right now. But remember, there was that other guy that got in trouble. Something about Vegas or something. They was gonna let him come back. Did they let him come back? It was somebody. I don't even know who it was. They kept saying, "Should he come back? Should he come back?" I don't know who it was. See, somebody. People do get in trouble every year, so I don't know who it was. But nobody's talking about that guy, Darren Lee from the Jets. People need to be talking about that because that could be CTE. Every few months, we see a former NFL player and something tragic. Before this Darren Lee guy, it was the guy that unalived himself in Dallas, remember? And the strangest thing was the girlfriend, not wife, not fiance, the girlfriend was pregnant, and the Cowboys did something I have never known them to do. They appealed to the public to help her financially. I'm like, y'all are billionaires. What y'all doing? Don't y'all think that was weird? I have never known them to want to help none of these players' girlfriends when they died. That was different. And they didn't give her the money. They asked the public to give it to her, which was also strange. And I say, you know what I think it is? I think they don't want her to push for a CTE examination. That's what I said. I said because if something about his family, his mom had died. So maybe she had some kind of rights to something. So I thought they were trying to be nice to her to get her to just back off of, because you know, when these guys die like this, people suggest that they get their brain examined for CTE. I felt like the Cowboys were being nice to her because they got the resources. So they were placated to seemingly to be nice to her so she won't look any further. Because I think that kid has CTE too. And the Darren Lee guy, nobody's talking about that. And remember the guy before him, they said he was breaking into houses. Come to find out he wasn't breaking into houses. He was having some kind of episode from CTE and they end up killing him or something like that in custody. Yep. See how every few months it's happening? And that guy, before the guy in Dallas, his teammate died from CTE. His teammate was running back or something like that. Yeah. So I think it's interesting when the NFL don't talk about these things. And it's never white players. It's never white players. I find that very interesting. Y'all know they gave this black player 20 Advil a day to take for pain when he would go to the team doctor. He didn't know he wasn't supposed to be taking that, and he had kidney failure, and he sued the NFL. He eventually died. These are the things they don't talk about. So even when you're not playing for them, seems like medical racism is real. Think about Tyrod Taylor. Think about the one that they gave the 20 Advil a day to. Think about the CTE, the race Norman, how they didn't want to pay black people for CTE claims, saying that their brains were already lower functioning, so you're not injured. Medical racism. Yeah. So let's see if anybody talks about the Darren Lee guy. Think you're just going to be swept under the rug. Instead, dude is crazy as a box of rocks. He been crazy, and he been getting away with it all this time. It finally caught up with him. So what do you know about him, Isaiah? Please share. It said it could be some other medical problems, nor substance abuse. It could be substance abuse because you got to be off your rockers to ram your car head on into somebody. You're trying to hurt that person, right? And yourself. They pick and choose who they want to go off on. That's true. Sometimes that's true. People do know who to play with. Not enough whippings while they was young. Misbehaving was considered cute. Okay, Miss Pamela. So you saying it's a lack of discipline at a young age? What they say, spare the rod, spoil the child, or something like that? Is that what you mean? It say I seen that. Neighbors say they see the police, then ambulance drive off silent, and they knew something was seriously wrong when the police stayed there. Oh, okay, Destiny. Okay, that's some info. It said this time of escalating is one-off. This type of escalating is not a one-off. Most likely the abuse has been happening for a while. Here's the thing, something transpired because he had red flags. So where do red flags come from? You see how they said he had red flags? What are red flags? If no team wanted him and he had what kind of red flags, this is not a shock to people. So what red flags did he have? Let's see. Because they say teams didn't want to get him because he had red flags. Oh, let's see. Warning signs were there. The Falcons and James Pierce Jr. So now they're gonna use that to say we were right to justify the black GM because he drafted him. That's interesting too. Let's see. I kept hearing about these red flags, but I haven't heard them specifically detailed what exactly these red flags are. I find that interesting. That there were red flags and nobody want to talk about what they were. So the teams knew. The teams knew what kind of person he was. Well, that's really wrong, right? And isn't that some kind of negligence? Like you knew this guy was half-baked, but you ain't say nothing? Maybe if it was made public, but she went to school with him. So if there was some kind of issue up there, here we go. It said James Pierce Jr., the Atlanta Falcons rookie edge rusher, faced significant character and maturity red flags throughout the 2025 NFL draft process that caused multiple teams to remove him from their draft boards. Despite these concerns, the Falcons traded up to select him 26th overall in the first round. It said, prior to entering the NFL, scouts and analysts cited several recurring issues. Okay, let's see. Recurring issues so much as, let me share this with y'all so we can see this together. All right, so I'm going to share his issues so y'all can see, put the words with the verbiage with what I'm saying so you can see. All right. It said pre-draft red flags. Let me make sure y'all can see it. Hold on one second. Because sometimes y'all can't see it. Okay, you can see it. Perfect. All right. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. All right. So it said prior to entering NFL, scouts and analysts cited several recurring issues, maturity and coachability. Multiple reports indicated Pierce was viewed as undeniably uncoachable at Tennessee. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that he was off several teams' board due to maturity concerns. So that's one. It said worst character report. It says some scouts described him as having the worst character report of any player in the 2025 class. It'll be interesting to see what's in there. Work ethic and motivation. Questions were raised regarding his football makeup, including his motivation, his work ethic, and overall love for the game. I mean, well, why did y'all draft him? I don't get it. 2023 arrest. Here we go. It said in December in 2023, he was arrested during a traffic stop in Knoxville and charged with speeding and driving on a suspended license and disobeying police orders. And he wasn't in jail? Media restrictions. At Tennessee, he was heavily restricted from the media interviews, which some NFL teams viewed as a red flag regarding his preparedness or temperament. Recent legal issues. All right. Aggravated battery, aggravated stalking, fleeing or eluding police. I mean, should we really be surprised based on what we just read above? Aggravated battery of law enforcement officer. Reports indicate he crashed his vehicles into hers multiple times and struck an officer in the knee with his car while evading arrests. And he's out. He has a bond for only $20,000, which is what, $2,000? And it's supposed to be like 10%. How do you think these legal developments will impact the standing with the Falcons or the NFL disciplinary review? Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing as an NFL disciplinary review? What do y'all think about it? He had some red flags and he was already arrested. Now that's what we know about. They saying in Knoxville with some other stuff. So I don't know if it's going to ever come out. But the good situation is if something happened at Tennessee and she chose to stay with him, she likely has photos. I'm not saying it did, and I'm not saying that, that was her case. This could be her first situation, and it could be somebody else's fourth, right? So this kid does seem like he was like a time bomb. And I don't know, they said the Falcons GM was trying to save his job, so he was looking at talent and not the character. And they paired him up with another person, somebody who's supposed to be real mature, but they said that guy's character off on him. I don't know. Sounds like immaturity. What do y'all think? Sounds like immaturity. That's just what it sounds like. It said Oh, hey, Marlon, how you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. A lot of these situations come out during the off season. That's what Asante Samuel is saying. It said, not at all. It said, that's the hand that feeds them. It said, Queen, you called it. Great for Trinidad. Yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. People really wanted him to quit and was hating on him. I mean, if it was y'all would do it. See, they never thought these players would have enough money to pursue these things or enough mental aptitude that they would be so desperate to get to the NFL that they wouldn't care what was happening back in college. But that's not the truth. It said abusers don't tend to go off on their bosses, mostly the partners or family behind the scene until they can't no more. That's true. That's true, because it's a lot of abuse that happens at home. But when the person get to work, their coworkers be, what? I would have never thought. How many times have you heard somebody say, I had no idea they would do something like that? So that's true. Transforming is actually correct. Most abuse stays silent. It happens at home. They take whatever out on their partners, and their co-workers think they angels. That's true. Until the woman go to work with a black eye. So that's true. It's that the NCAA tries to appeal it, they will get sued for king's ransom. I agree, and it's gonna look bad. They might as well just leave it alone, right? Just leave it alone. You can't rig everything. And that's what it proves, right? You can't rig everything. But they want to. And it proved, but they're putting out that way too early, 2026 rigged list with that kid at the top. That's their motivation. That's what they working on. That's why they hating on Shedeur. That's why they hating on Trinidad. All for this one kid, and they want to cheat the entire NCAA football season for this one kid to come out overall. Well, all the Browns got to do is use all their draft picks and convince whoever got number one next year to give it to them. But can you believe a scenario where they will want to win next year if they don't currently have the number one pick for 2027? Because if they don't have it in a way to get it and nobody promised it to them, they don't want to lose. So we're going to see what happens, because they lost in 24 on purpose. They lost in 25 on purpose. If they don't have and maybe they already made a deal with the owners amongst themselves. Whichever one of y'all get the 2027 pick, I'm going to give you this and you give me that pick. And that's going to be the only reason they want to win. But that don't mean they want to win with Shedeur. Because if they holding him hostage, he going to be over there when the Manning kid come. Yeah. And look for that. I talked about that before we even this was after the draft. It said, I hope Ole Miss plays Texas. Wait a minute. That would actually, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Oh my, wait, I have the schedule right here. Y'all gonna see me watching some Ole Miss games. Chicago, it's gonna be Colorado and Ole Miss. Oh, and Miami. I got to watch Miami. Here's the schedule right here. So let's take a look at the schedule. I'm gonna show y'all the schedule. Let me show y'all the schedule. Yeah, I'm rooting for. Well, I don't want to watch Oregon, but I am rooting for Dante Moore. But I'd be damned if I watch anything Dan Lanning is coaching. But I will root for Dante Moore in spirit. Yeah, I'm not watching Dan Lanning. That's not gonna happen. Because I think he guilty of something. Allegedly. All right, so here we go. All right, y'all can see it. So this is the schedule now that Trinidad is going back to school. Here we go. Who we got? Y'all said Texas. I don't think Texas is on here, but aren't they both in the SEC? Okay, here we go. First, Louisville, non-conference plays, Charlotte 49ers. Then it's LSU. Then it's the Florida Gators. Then it's Vanderbilt, Missouri Tigers. I don't even know how they in the SEC. Oh, Texas Longhorns. That's the game. That is the game. It is in Texas. Saturday, October 24th. Oh, I hope Colorado got a bye week. But this game probably going to be on at 7. And I don't know if Colorado got any games coming up on TV this year. I don't think we find out until we get closer in the season. So we have to check. Auburn Tigers. Okay. Georgia. Okay. Want to see that. That's going to be in Mississippi. Oklahoma Sooners. I definitely want to see that. I want to see who the quarterback is over there. And who is it? Wolford Terriers? Who the hell? Wolford Terriers? What school is that? Who is Wolford Terriers? Does anybody know? In Mississippi State. Okay. So who is the Wolford Terriers? They gave them 2 non-conference games or something? Sound like a high school. Wolford Terriers. I never heard of that. I'm going to have to try to keep this bookmarked or screenshot it or something. But whoever said OU versus Texas, because they in the same conference. Not OU, Ole Miss. Ole Miss versus Texas, October 24th. That's going to be the showdown. That's going to be the showdown. So what y'all thinking? What y'all thinking? Because that's going to be the one. That's going to be the one. Because I promise you, the lawyers left early before the ruling came in because they knew they lost. And they were hella disrespectful because people behind the scenes have been working on rigging shit to get that kid out of here, and he stays. So now they have to pivot and adjust. So they got to rig some more stuff. Stay tuned. Trinidad need to be very careful. Don't drink nothing, don't eat nothing, don't go nowhere, don't let nobody drive you nowhere, because injury is the name of the game. Weaponizing the injury. Better be careful. I just hope and pray him and Shedeur. I told y'all they on the same track, just different levels. It said Ole Miss got a squad next year. Remember, man plans and guide labs. But didn't their edge rusher go to LSU? Because they lost some people to LSU, but they gonna get some more. I guess they'll get some more. I don't know how they're gonna get some more, but I don't know what's gonna happen. Most likely they're both in the SEC. Okay, there we go. How many years did Bo Nix play in college? Ooh, I don't know. He was older though when he was older. I feel like 6 years like Dylan, but I could be wrong. Does anybody know how long Bo Nix was in college? It said, I read no CU players were invited to the combine. They could at least have invited Mata. Damn, they didn't invite Mata? But you know what they own, right? You know what they trying to do. Well, one thing about it, the portal closed now. So that's what they was trying to do. But I'm not surprised it's gonna be the same way, It's gonna be the same way. Some people gonna say that's why Jordan Seaton left. Haven't heard anything about him. Congratulations, Trinidad. Right. People really wanted him to give up, wanted him to quit, wanted him just to let it go. I'm like, he only 23. How old is Dylan? Because he was in school for 6 years. So Trinidad can't get his 6th year. Yeah, they say that's a slap in Coach Prime face to not have not one person invited to the combine. How many did we have last year? Just the receivers? And not all of them. It was LaJonte, Jimmy, Travis, and Shedeur. We only had 4 last year. And remember, Jimmy and LaJonte came late, right? They didn't come out initially. They had to work for them. So really it was 2. So I ain't surprised it's 0. How many years did Dylan play in college? He started at Oklahoma. I think Dylan was 6 years total. 6 seasons. So yeah. It said, I'm glad he got to go back. What if next year a lot of them still say, seeing how all of these teams and owners are involved, what if next year a lot of them still stay? I think a lot of them are going to start staying back until they change the NIL rules. And I don't know. It seems like the courts are ruling in these kids' favor, which is a message for these players in the NFL. Y'all need to stop being scared and going out there and sue. Didn't y'all tell me about another player that was suing? Or did I tell y'all about this player from Utah that was suing? And then now, do you see the scandal happening at BYU? So people now looking at BYU sideways. They're talking about, wait a minute, y'all had one of these great scandals last year. And that kid ended up, here's the crazy part about that. Reslov, remember him? He ended up in trouble. He ended up settling that situation. And of course, because they have this chastity vow, he had to go to a different school. He ended up at Tulane, where the Ty Thompson kid was. And they had him ranked to come out this year. So I haven't heard his name. They had him ranked to come out number 19 of all the quarterbacks, which normally about 13 quarterbacks are drafted. But here's the thing, he didn't even have a school. I'm like, how the hell do you have him ranked to go somewhere with no school? Because that's what they do. And at the time, they had, what's his name? Why can't I ever remember this kid's name? And I cheered for him all damn season long at Colorado that came from Liberty. What the hell is this? Caden Salter. Caden Salter was number 15. And Pat Schumer messed that right on up. So he didn't get an invite either. And neither did Mata. That's crazy. That's the snub to Colorado. So you got the NFL playing. You have Colorado playing. You have the Big 12 playing. That's 3. And the alumni. That's 4. That's 4. But they don't want to crack open that checkbook, do they? They're trying to deter players from going to CU while CP is there, right? Right. It says CPU didn't have any NFL ready players last year. Coach, are you okay? What are you talking about? We had Travis, we had Shedeur, we had the Heisman winner, we had 2 Heisman candidates. One was a winner, and we got Jimmy. Jimmy was definitely NFL ready. And look at BJ Green, he was out there balling. And if I'm not mistaken, is Cameron Craig still over in Jacksonville with Travis? I think so. In BJ Green balled out. He actually moved up from the practice squad and stayed on the 53-man roster and went to the playoffs with them. So, Coach, that's not true. We actually had 5 or 6 of them. 14 were associated. Just because they didn't make it don't mean they weren't NFL ready. It just means the NFL were not going to let that many Colorado players in. Understand, it is very political with these combine invites. And I talked about it last year, how all those invites went to Alabama, but people didn't get drafted high. They just used that for recruiting. Oh, that's what Michael Parsons or somebody he was interviewing said. Somebody asked, why did you go to Alabama? And he said, because I wanted to get drafted. They don't all get drafted high though, but they do give them a lot because it's the SEC. And, it's just like anything else, right? So no, we had NFL ready players last year. It said the NFL had sorry punters all over the league. Yeah, I think Mata would be good. It said they were talking about how Shedeur is getting in trouble for tickets while the ex-player Ben Roethlisberger didn't get much attention for 2 sexual assault allegations. Yep, one that went away by payout. Right. When he had that first allegation, they didn't even suspend him. It wasn't until he had the second. Yep. That's right. Is that Destiny? That's absolutely correct. That's what somebody said on Shedeur's behalf. It was a white player. He said, we got domestic violence all over the place in the NFL, and you worried about a speeding ticket? They had Devin Bush right there on the damn team. He actually had a domestic violence charge. It somehow disappeared, though. I find it very convenient. I'm just saying it's very convenient. Somebody had to take that photo on that door and that location. And I told y'all I was watching that case to see. I wanted to see what was going to happen. First, it was delayed. Then suddenly, after it was delayed, it was dismissed. I don't understand why black people are encouraging a league that doesn't want them to go. It's that Ben Roethlisberger is trying to tarnish Mike Tomlin's legacy all of a sudden. He need to be quiet. That's what he need to be quiet. He just need to be quiet. How you gonna tarnish Mike Tomlin's legacy and the man never had a losing season? That's crazy. That's sad for him to be talking. He need to be quiet. Hey, everybody. Hey, Tamika. She says she's just not joining us. Later for Ben. Right. Like, They're not going to stand up for themselves. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they look at these kids in college who's suing and winning. And Brian Flores' case is still dragging, but it's still over there. And you see they didn't hire him as a coach, but they wanted to make him feel recognized. So they made him the highest paid defensive coordinator, but not a coach. And they stole his job after they bribed him to lose games and he refused to. So they fired him with a winning record. And they still didn't give him his job back. But he still worked there. But he still got his lawsuit. So I guess we just gonna have to see what happens. But to me, these quarterbacks need to look at these kids in college that are taking up legal action and actually winning. And one of the reasons why the NCAA probably lost because they didn't prepare, because they just felt like it's the NCAA, entitled. And they lost. And they probably mad and they probably going to retaliate against the kid. But from what I understand, supposedly they got a $5 million deal. And one of the sticky points were this kid is very popular and you're going to cause him to lose money, this, that, and the other, because they're a business now. They're brands now. So it's a different ball game with this NIL. Let's say Epstein had a place in New Mexico. Yep. That's the Zorro place we were talking about. A lot of evidence. Yep. They thinking he was the serial unaliver. Now, they showing a bunch of girls about the same age. One of them was black. Everybody else was not, though. Trinidad gonna do the damn thing next year. Right. Everybody said this kid is going to be the story. So now they got to figure out what to do. And it ain't going to be legal, whatever it is. It's not going to be legal. I'm telling you, it wasn't legal with Shedeur. And they didn't want him to play. It's not going to be legal. I might have to email his mom. Hey, I don't really know you, but I follow your kid. I just want you to follow Shedeur standards. I just want you to kind of see how injuries and making players unavailable is something you got. I hate to say it, you got to think about that now. Because I was adding him too. Go back to school. Go back to school. Him, Dante Moore. I think those were two I was adding, and DJ Lagaway. But I noticed it when they start firing all those college coaches. I quickly realized, I said, wait a minute. All of them had black quarterbacks that was coming to the draft. And look how Tennessee lost its mind over Nico Liavaliama. And do you hear his name? So I don't know. Maybe he got another year. He's supposed to have 4 years. And it's not going on over there at Tennessee because they acted ignorant when Nico left. And then we got, what's his name? The kid that was over there that wanted to come last year when Shedeur was playing, but we couldn't take him, but he came this time. I don't know his name. And then they ended up with Ryan Staub. I'm like, not Colton Hood. They ended up with Colton Hood, Ryan Staub, and we got one of their guys. I forget his name. But remember, he was going to come last year. Whatever his name is, we ended up with him. I think they're going to be good. Yes, the NFL going to try to screw them over. But that's the lesson for these kids. And I think that's what Coach Prime be trying to teach them. Look, your journey ain't going to always be smooth. Everything might have been smooth up to this point, but it's a different ball game now. This ain't no participation league. And you can get over there and you still can have the same problem. So what you need to learn how to do is how to overcome it. And that's a valid lesson. I have to say it. It's a valid lesson about how to deal with difficult people. I hope Shedeur read his book. At least just crack the cover a little bit. Because no matter where you go to school, you're going to have some kind of problem, right? You might have a problem with the lady in the financial aid office, and they might be screwing you over on your scholarship or something, or they might want you to pay out of your pocket for your room and board. You have to know how to navigate these things. And being at a school like Colorado, where the team has the energy and can win and keeps overcoming the sabotage and without giving up, and they want to run the coach off, but he's staying 10 toes down with the team and he's still getting good players. I mean, that's really just, showing you how to get through life, because when you leave Colorado, you're going to face some issues. It's just going to look a little different, and you're going to have to move like Coach Prime did. Okay, these people got me on this team, but they don't want to let me play. Think about Shedeur. Shedeur was never used to being held back. Like, never. He even mentioned that. He didn't even know what that looked like. So not only was he held back, it's not like he was held back behind a good quarterback. He was held back by the dud. And then his coach didn't like him, just like that dude that we watched on the video with Johnny Manziel that said, what? My coach didn't talk to me. I'm like, who is this? Because it's Kevin Stefanski's his coach. Because that means he's done it before to other people too. That's what that means. But I don't know when Johnny Manziel was there, so maybe not. But it just sounds like the Browns are just toxic. So like BJ said, it's still trade Shedeur. And I keep telling y'all, I feel like they're going to get to a place where they're going to have to trade him. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Think about it. They got a petition out there, even though they're trying to woo over the person that put the petition together. Y'all make sure y'all sign a petition, please. At least just let's see if we can get this community can get them to 1,000, and maybe we can pop in and say some things. Well, we helped y'all get to 1,000, so can you take us a little seriously? But we just want to see if we can get it to 1,000, just so they can, the NFL, because the NFL had responded last I checked, the Browns responded, so that the Browns can see this is gaining momentum. Oh, we need to take this seriously. That's why I kind of want to get it to 1,000. And if this community could get it 100, because we are at 50 something, just for the community, maybe if we get it to 100 people, they're like, oh, they got voices. Yeah. Because voices on a petition could easily turn into a class action lawsuit. Understand? You just slide them same people over to a class action lawsuit. So, a lot of people always say that's what we should do. Go sign a petition. Because if you want me to take on some endeavor like that takes years, I need a lot of people to just show and prove rather than just say, because that's a lot of work. And it takes a lot out of you, and it lasts for years. So I like the petition route. So put your money where your mouth is and go sign it, please. I'll put the link in the chat. All right, so I guess we're gonna get ready to wrap up, guys. This was good. This was good. Bye, Josh Allen. Oh yeah, just mid, just mid. All Peyton Manning plotted and planning isn't quite working out. It sure isn't, because not only do they have a petition, they got the Epstein files, and with the walls coming from the outside, closing in from the outside, and see, what people don't understand is, with those banks pulling their financial support, number one, we're not loaning you no more money, and two, I'm gonna need you to pay me the money you owe me back expeditiously. That means they think something is happening that he's too risky to be in business with, so we're gonna need our money back. That's because Interpol has entered the chat. And I think there are people on this side in our country that want people on the outside to do it because they scared. Even Representative Jeffries, Senator Jeffries, the black guy, you know what he said? He quoted Thomas Jefferson. I was like, well, I don't know about quoting him. But anyway, he said, when the people are scared to hold the government accountable, that's where you get tyranny. I'm like, yeah, and that's what's happening. Everybody's afraid to do. That's really what it is, y'all. They're afraid of the political violence. They've seen the judges' houses get blown up. They got this girl, mama is missing after she was talking about it. But that's how it works. They know about all the other people. Lex Wessner had an accountant. I don't know what happened with that, but they blew his face off. Yeah, it's all kind of stuff that has happened. So, they scared. So I think a lot of them, and they showed where the lady that was the Pam Bondi lady, she was testifying and going through a book that they have given her because they started surveilling the people that was looking at the files. That's why I didn't download the files. I'm like, I am not doing that. I don't know. Whoever downloaded the files, they're going to be like, now who is this? Because they're not on the right side of things. She has turned her office into henchmen. So I was like, I'm going to just read it when y'all put it on Threads. So if you go to Threads, all I've been doing is just reposting. I don't even need to talk about it. And it tells a story. If you follow me on Threads, the story is laid out for you because I'm carefully picking and choosing what it is I'm reposting that tells it, just put the information out there from all over the sources. So think of me as your own little AI. Grabbing everything and putting it together and just reposting it. And all I'm doing is just reposting it. You like, damn, I didn't know all of this. So that's my way. I'm letting somebody else download it. Everybody, they feel comfortable doing it. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you I'm not. So that way I repost it. I don't have a problem with that. So yeah, see what they've been doing. It said news travels around the league about players. It does. And that means that people probably knew about James Pierce Jr. It said Drake May looked like trash in the Super Bowl. But you know what? Think about it. We talked about that all season. Remember, it was Drake May. It was Cam. Cam was the most sacked quarterback, like maybe halfway or third of the way through the season. And Drake May was second. And we were talking about when the Browns played the Patriots. I think it was the Patriots. And I said, let me look up this Drake May. I said, I don't think he that good. I really think he that good because he's been sacked so many times. And for our guys, it don't work like that because they could be hella good and they don't get protection. But for people like Drake May and Dylan, they get 4 nights. So I was like, yeah, I don't get the impression that he's that good. But that's what they want in the future. That's why Mendoza kicking up his feet, not going to the combine, because he's supposed to be coming out first to replace Geno Smith, who they used to block Shedeur, and suddenly Geno Smith's trash. So I like BJ. I hope that Shedeur get traded. I think if it's a surprise to us and to him and everybody else, fine. If you got to start over, it might be better to start over at a team. If you got to compete, why not go to a new team and compete over there? I mean, honestly, what do y'all think about that? Because I really would be traumatized to have to compete against Dylan or anybody else again in Cleveland because it ain't going to matter. So let's see what happens with that. Let's see what God does. Because clearly, people didn't expect this judge in Mississippi to give this young man his 6th year, but he got it. So congratulations. Yes, we will be watching Ole Miss play GEAUX Rebels. If I got to make a hoodie, that's what it's going to say with 504 on the back. I'm cheering for this kid. I'm cheering for all the black quarterbacks. But all of the ones that's still in college, Dante Moore, but I'm not watching Oregon because Dan Lanning is coach. I just cheer for Dante Moore in spirit. Who else is it? Oh, it's a lot of them that stayed back. We still got Lenore Sellers. So all of them. But we're gonna be watching. I will be watching Ole Miss and of course Colorado. Right? I want to see Juju take the helm. This will be his first full year. And I pray to God. I pray to God all the busters gone. Nobody told me, is Livingston still over there? And then we're gonna get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. I did good today. I actually posted a short. I think I'm able to get my shorts out a little faster now. I have more time to get my shorts out a little faster. So when y'all see my shorts on YouTube or Threads or X or Twitch or wherever they be at, please show them some love and just leave a comment and hit the like button and repost it if you can. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna say goodnight. So this was good, y'all. This was good. This was good. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Probably pop up during the day. We did a good huddle today. Who knows what it's gonna be about tomorrow? We'll see if Department of Homeland Security has anybody else they want to talk about. And apparently, Cardi and the guy broke up, Stephon Diggs, and he's going to trial for assault charges. So, I mean, I don't really care to get into that part because I don't know him like that, right? And it sounds like he got a little extra going on, so I didn't want to get into that. But we'll be back tomorrow. And to the night show segment, I keep looking for a cute name for it, so I called it The Latest Buzz. The Latest Buzz, and it could be sports, it could be culture, it could be the news. The Latest Buzz, because we talked about the Epstein files a little bit. That's news. Talking about sports because it's a sports channel, and culture, just talking about Cardi and Homeland Security going at it like Wendy's and Popeyes on social media. But shout out to Cardi B for holding her own. She was not scared to call him out about the Epstein files, and after that, it was. So I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna say goodnight. I shall see y'all tomorrow. I have thoroughly enjoyed y'all. Thank y'all for watching The Latest Buzz in Sports. See y'all tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.